Welcome to Deer IQ, here to help you hunt smarter, elevate your approach, and consistently tag exceptional whitetail. Whether you're just starting out or a longtime hunter targeting mature bucks, this is your edge. We bring you proven tactics, expert insights, and unfiltered conversations with high-level hunters who just get it done. Guiding you through it all is veteran hunter and strategist Adam Lewis, helping you spot what others miss, fine-tune your focus, and unlock your full hunting potential. So let's raise your deer IQ. Here's your host, Adam Lewis.
Hi, I'm Adam, and in this episode of the Deer IQ podcast, we continue our series on mobile hunting details that make the difference, focusing on mobile hunting basics most overlook. Yes, even some veterans to the game. I'm with the Amsteel Guy, who specializes in modifications for mobile hunting systems, and we talk about how he became known as the Amsteel Guy, why he thinks certain mods can make all the difference to your system, what he says is the top factor predicting success or failure at mobile hunting, what I hate about mobile hunting and why, and of course a lot more high IQ stuff in there as well. This is an episode geared toward beginners to mobile hunting, but is honestly good for all mobile hunters who want to fine-tune their approach. And we have our Season 3 quiz, which you can take to answer questions brought by our guests this year, including the Amsteel Guy who poses one in this episode. And this episode is brought to you by the Deer IQ Test 360. If you want to go from guessing and hoping to having a clear plan and personalized strategy for success on whitetail, this is for you. No more generic advice. This is specific to finding your blind spots and knowing exactly where to focus for maximum results this season. The Deer IQ Test 360. That and all our other high IQ services designed to help you hunt smarter and get better results are linked below. Okay, and now let's get to this podcast on mobile hunting basics most overlook. Okay, I am here with the Amsteel Guy. If you've heard of him, we're in our series on mobile hunting, and the theme this year is the details that make the difference. And talking about mobile hunting and really just trying to get nitty-gritty with that. And so, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
What's your actual name, Amsteel Guy? I knew that name for actually quite a while before I even knew you actually live close to me.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, my name's Sam Switolski from Saginaw, Michigan. Most people just call me the Amsteel Guy, but that's kind of who I am. Just the Amsteel Guy. The
Amsteel Guy. And you got all these accessories and stuff we'll go over. We're going to do two parts here. The first part, we're just talking about details that make the difference for highly effective mobile systems, right? Yep. Real quick, though, we're starting with this year, we're starting with a quiz. So the guests bring a question. You guys can take it. It's online. It should be in the show notes as well, but it's on the website. And having the guests bring a question, and then throughout the episode, you guys can look for the answer, and they will answer it. So, Sam, what is your question?
What is the most important part of being mobile or having a mobile setup?
Right, and you have to understand, this is according to the guests, right? There's like a multiple choice type questions, but this is according to Sam, and we're going to answer this as we talk here today. So, I was always kind of curious, like, obviously, you're really into mobile hunting, but how did you become the Amsteel Guy? Like, what is the story behind that?
So basically, I just bought my first house, just got married, and bought my first saddle on Facebook. This was back in 2019. Like, Tethered was just coming out, or if not, hadn't come out yet. And I saw a video on some hammock stuff, and they use Amsteel a lot in the hammock industry, and they have for a while. And I just said, hey, I could probably use that in the hunting world, and made up some daisy chains with my dad at his house, and he always hates when I say this, but he says, this is stupid, this will never work, and kind of saw, the mobile industry, saddle hunting, going crazy and starting up, and with Latitude and Tethered, and decided to start kind of making them on the side, and kind of just took off from there. One day I was just making it for myself, and then another week later I decided to start selling it.
So the Amsteel Guy name, was that like a choice, or did it kind of just like happen?
So I was big into slow pitch softball, and one of my buddies was pitching, and he was recommending this visor, and the guy's company was the Visor Guy, and I thought it was really cool, and I'm like, oh, well, the Amsteel Guy, I like that a lot, and that's kind of how that came to be, just playing off of something else I was doing at the time, one of my other passions.
Gotcha. And you do this full time?
I do. Yep, I started in 2019, and then 2021 I started full time, and right now I have 4 full-time employees.
All right, so for guys that don't know, a lot of guys might know about Amsteel, some might not, depends on where you're at in mobile hunting. So let's just start there, real basic. Like, what is Amsteel? Why is it important? Why did you choose that for all these mods? And we'll get into those in part 2 a little more, but he's got quite a bit here of this rope material. But what is so special and important about that?
Amsteel, it's Dyneema is the material. Amsteel is kind of the brand of it, but Dyneema or Amsteel is the strongest synthetic fiber in the world. And what's great about it is it's hollow, so you splice it instead of tying knots. And when you splice something, it can actually retain 90 to 100% of the strength. Instead of when you tie knots, you reduce the strength of your rope by 50%. So when you reduce your strength, you take like this, our thinnest rope, which is rated to 1,600 pounds, you're automatically reducing it down to 800. Where this, it'll retain your safe working load and your weight ratings almost 100%.
So it's super strong. You can probably look up videos of it, of them like with a small rope, holding up a car or something like that.
Traditionally it's on winches too. A lot of winch replacements for steel cables. That's a big use for it. Marine industry, hammocks, like I said earlier. A lot of uses for Amsteel.
Yeah, so it's no stretch, right?
Yep.
It's super tough. It's hard to cut even.
It is. Yep.
And so it's safer really than straps even, like the straps that the most
for the most part, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, it can be. A lot of the water jet stuff is pretty tough on it with the edges on it, but used properly, Amsteel is very strong and very abrasion resistant.
Yeah, so for example, so what diameter is this right here?
That's 7/64, so that's our thinnest diameter.
Okay, so do you know the breaking strength of that?
1,600 pounds.
1,600.
So we do a 1/5 scale, so that's 320 pounds. And this is, like I said, this is a daisy chain. This is what I started making. Super skinny. It's about the size of paracord, maybe even a little bit smaller. And you can see here, it's there's no knots. It's buried back through itself, so that way it retains all the strength. But most people know what a daisy chain is. That's kind of what was first introduced in the mobile and saddle industry.
Gotcha. So this is 1,600. What I'm just trying to compare
so this
sizes and stuff.
This is a 1/8. We usually use 7/64, 1/8, and 3/16. This is 1/8. It's a little bit big, technically 1/64 inch bigger. This is rated at 2,500 pounds. And then this is a 3/16, which is rated to just over 6,000 pounds. So crazy strong.
Unless you weigh more than 6,000 pounds, it's probably could work for you, right?
Yep.
All right, so super strong stuff. So let's get into this. So you have all this stuff. What did you see missing from this, mobile hunting industry that caused you to start this business, which is now doing pretty well?
Well, there wasn't really anything in the mobile hunting industry when I started doing it. It was more so just getting ready to take off. And everyone was still using cam buckles or ratchet straps, and there's nothing lightweight or nothing that didn't have metal. And that's the big thing for me, is to remove the metal and have something that's lightweight and silent when you're getting into the bedding areas. So how I hunt, I'm trying to get into the bedding of the deer or close to it, and with metal, hitting on metal sticks or whatever, it just makes noise and it's hard to control that.
Yeah. And I do a lot of public land hunting, mobile hunting. I hate metal. I absolutely hate it. And so stuff like this, instead of a strap with this big, heavy, so this is light, right? So something that has a strap and a big old metal buckle on it is heavy. It'll clang, and that stuff makes noise at the worst possible times. You're gonna make a mistake, and once you do that, it's like your hunt's over. You've screwed it up.
And that's the thing, like with this, like for instance on the daisy chains, those weigh under 1 ounce. So a 6-foot cam buckle is traditionally about 6 to 8 ounces, where this is an 8-foot daisy chain, so it's 2 feet longer, and it's 1/6 or 1/8 of the ounce depending on the cam buckle you're using. Yeah. So super lightweight.
Yeah, well, if you're wondering what to use this for, we'll get into that later, but we're just talking about the actual material and rope itself here, and just the groundwork of that, right? So that was missing in the industry. So you got started with this. How I guess we'll ask this question. What is the benefit? What do you see as the big benefit of mobile hunting? It's exploded, right? They would support a business like this and make it so effective, I guess.
I think the big thing is just the run and gun aspect, taking everything in and out. So like instead of having 10 ladder stands, you have one system that you take in and out of the woods every time. And like earlier last season, I made a 30-yard move and it ended up being the ticket to killing a deer. So I moved from one morning to the next morning 30 yards, and I killed the same buck that I saw that morning before. So that's a nice thing about having a mobile setup, where if you have a ladder stand or a hang-on stand, it's hard to move those. Or if you have a saddle setup or a mobile tree stand setup, you take it in and out every time because you have so much invested into that system, and it's so lightweight that you can take it down and make that move the following morning.
Yeah, when you have, I've noticed this a lot. Like if you have stands set up, sometimes you have them in the right spot, but
You get complacent.
sometimes you don't. Yeah, and what happens is you kind of get stuck in that spot because it's a lot of work to move it 100 yards or 50 yards. And so you just keep hunting it over and over again, so you kind of tend to burn out spots. You tend to see deer instead of getting shots at them, maybe, so a mobile setup helps you with that. It just lets you, there's good and bad to it. And I'll be honest, there is pros and cons. The con is you're doing this every time.
Yep.
You can't just go in, hunt, and leave.
Instead of walking up and climbing up a ladder, you have to set up. And that's what's so important about practicing your setup this time of year and getting your setup to be a system and doing it the same way every time, which we'll talk about later as well. But once you get the hang of it, I can climb up in a tree and have my camera, my bow, everything set up in 5 or 6 minutes, get 18 feet up in the air. And you can do that with or without Amsteel products, but it's just all about having that system and being able to be efficient out in the woods.
Yeah, so there's pros and cons, but it allows you to and forces you to really every hunt you're setting up and you're thinking about it. You can tweak things a lot better, and also there's a whole list of stuff. But in public land, you don't have to leave your setup there for everybody to see, or steal. And there's a whole stealth element to it for other hunters as well as for the deer part, right?
Yep.
So what do you think is most important for a highly effective mobile hunt setup? You kind of talked about this as your question, I think, but what is that and why is that so important to you?
To me, it's having a system. You got to have a system that you do everything the same way climbing up, the same way climbing down, and pack it up. If you don't have a system, there's no point in being a mobile hunter. If you're just throwing everything in a backpack, you're defeating the whole purpose of trying to be mobile, because you don't know. If I just throw my tether in the middle of my backpack, I don't know where it's at for the next climb up, and you're not being efficient.
Yeah, so let's get into that a little more, like dialing that in. I don't want to...
It's like tuning your bow. You got to tune your setup, figure out what works for you, do the practice climb, shoot. If you're hunting out of a saddle, you got to shoot out of a saddle. There's a lot of people I know that first time going to a saddle, they go to shoot a deer and they shoot right over its back because it's different than a tree stand. You got to bend differently. You definitely want to practice.
Yeah, so you were talking backpack.
Yep.
All your gear, where you put everything every time has a place, right? You've practiced it. Because if you think about it, you're usually either going in or coming out in the dark.
Yep.
Right? Or both if you stay all day, right? So you have to be able to do this in the dark, in awkward positions, up a tree, all this stuff that's kind of difficult to do. And you got to be able to do it efficiently. You got to do it quietly.
Yep.
You have to do it. There's a lot going on, right?
It's not something you just want to show up October 1st and just start climbing. You definitely want to know what you're doing.
Yeah. So what are some things, can you give any examples of that? Like, I guess, as far as what you do to help with that?
So I'm year after year, I might change a stick that I use or a platform, or if I'm doing an all day set, I might switch from a platform to a stand. But my attachment methods, my aiders to go up the tree are always the same. Everything's in the same spot, but my tools that I connect to or that I put on the tree might change depending on how long I'm sitting. But I have a fanny pack I run. That's a big part of my system that holds everything. I don't wear a bino harness. I have a fanny pack that holds, my flashlight, my grunt call, rangefinder, all that stuff to climb up the tree. I'm big into minimalist saddle hunting, so I don't have anything on my saddle. I don't like anything hanging. I always put everything back in the same spot. I have a spot for my platform. I have a spot for my coat, all that stuff. So it's just figuring out what gear works for you and how to use it. And every person's different. Most people I show my setup end up leaning towards how I climb, which we'll talk about in the second episode. But it's a really efficient way to get up the tree.
What do you think people get wrong other than, just not, I guess, being efficient, not having a system? Like what?
They rush. I think the biggest thing is just rushing. I mean, rushing, it's cost me a couple of deer in the past, and it's just take a breath, take your time. You can still do it in, 5-10 minutes, and you'll be all right.
Okay, do you want to share?
My first year,
it's not too painful.
No, my first year I went to Wisconsin.
Think you're ready for deer season? Take the Deer IQ Test 360 and find out. It pinpoints blind spots and weaknesses in your strategy so you can fix what's holding you back and focus your effort on exactly what gets results. It's quick, insightful, and delivers personalized suggestions based on your unique hunter profile. If you want to consistently tag better whitetail, the Deer IQ Test 360 is where to start. Take it now, linked below or at deeriq.com.
Okay, and here's your high IQ moment. Do you use modifications or mods for your hunting setups? Over the years, I have done tons of changes to my setups and systems, but all these come with a warning. Any changes you make might void manufacturer warranties. When climbing in trees far above the ground, it's important to remember this and that safety is paramount. So make sure any and all changes you make to your gear are thoroughly tested from ground level before you trust your life with it 20 feet up a tree. Be honest about your skill to do this, double check everything, and make sure not to overlook the smallest detail. That's high IQ, super important, and something to really think about. And if you want to go from generic help like from a podcast and take it up a level to being specific to you and thus much more effective, check out these Deer IQ services designed to do just that. First is the Deer IQ Test 360, our comprehensive hunting skills and strategy assessment. Second, our one-on-one coaching to dive deep and dial in specific strategies to where you hunt that will get results. And third, our smart land plans. Most land does not meet its full potential or even come close. We help analyze what's going wrong and come up with a clear plan for both your hunting strategy and the land itself to make it a consistent producer of mature whitetail. Sign up for those below because we only have so many spots available. Okay, and now back to the podcast.
We forgot about daylight savings and the time change. So so I was like getting out there. I was like 8 o'clock, and it was like the sun was already up, and I'm like, I gotta get in a tree now. I know there's gonna be deer coming, and I picked a tree that was 20 yards too far away, and I got up there. I'm like, I'm in the wrong tree. So I climbed down, and I'm on my third stick, and I knew that there was gonna be a deer coming by any time. So I had my bow, traditionally where I'd put my stand or my platform. I had it on my hip. And I saw the deer coming, pulled my bow off my hip, and I shot right over his back because I was on single step stick, so I had 1 foot up high, 1 foot down low.
Oh, so you were climbing?
I was on the third stick, and I saw this. It was like 130.
So then you pulled up.
My bow was already on my hip because I knew there was a chance there was going to be a deer coming. So I did it backwards. Instead of putting my bow on my gear hanger or my bow rope, I put my tree stand on there just to be safe because I'm like, oh, if I see something, I can still shoot. It's like it's the time to be shooting. So I had 1 foot here and 1 foot here on a single step stick, and I saw the deer coming. I drew back and shot right over his back twice.
Twice?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It was pretty painful. That was my second year mobile hunting though. I was still pretty rough. Never shot a deer with a bow.
Okay.
And it would have been my first buck with a bow as well. So it was just pretty pumped up. Really nice deer, and just zipped it right over his back because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared.
And you were in the middle of climbing, all this stuff going on. Yeah. I have found, I don't know why this is, everything online is a competition, it seems, or it turns into it. But people will brag about, oh, it takes me this long to get up the tree. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get set. If you screw it up, you screwed it up.
Just give yourself more time.
Yeah, give yourself more time. Don't rush. As you're walking in, you're planning each step. You're not stepping on twigs and branches and junk. As you climb, you're being safe and you're being quiet. Because as I go up, if I make, I get really tight on public land especially. So I can't afford to be making little noises and stuff.
Right.
I've got to have clean entries, setups, hunts, and then tear downs to have any success.
And with the noise aspect, that's one of the perks of the Amsteel is there's no metal to bang on anything. So if you can throw this wherever you want, it's not going to make a single noise. It's silent and lightweight. So that's a perk of, when you're getting into that bedding area, getting on the close to the deer at prime or just before light, after dark, getting down, whatever it is, you don't have that metal buckle where if you drop the strap, it's going to make that noise.
Yeah, and the only thing I've ever found, and I'll mention it because it did make noise, is if you ever have a knot or something on there, that can potentially make a little noise because it's kind of a hard area, but it's not metal on metal. It's not. And
I don't think the deer really understand that. They've been trained to know what the metal on metal sound is from everyone that's been climbing for the last 40 years. It's not really noticeable. It does make the noise, and I think we notice it more because we're trying to pay attention and be careful.
But it's soft material, right?
Yep.
You're avoiding a lot of the chances to make mistakes with that. Are there any other mistakes, I guess, you see guys making other than rushing? If they're maybe just starting a mobile hunt,
just starting and not practicing, going in and if you take an aider, which is an extension of your climbing stick, so I use a version of this, and you don't practice with this, it can be hard to use, especially in the dark on that first hunt. So aider specifically is something that you want to practice with, which I've preached a lot, and I preach every time I talk to somebody, you got to practice with the mobile system to get it efficient. It's all about having that system and knowing what you're doing.
How do you know when you're ready with the system?
That's a tough answer. Everyone's different. When you feel like you could do it blindfolded, I'll say. I mean, I honestly feel like I could climb blindfolded and know what I'm doing.
We're going to go outside right now.
In the 90-degree blindfold. That isn't happening. No, maybe not blindfolded, but if you could do it in the dark with low light or no flashlight, I'm basically blindfolded. I'd say that's when you should feel really confident and ready.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go into details again. Episode 2 here. We're trying to start in the shallows and then go to the deep end here with our talk. But I know what's on my right hip pouch. I know what's on my left hip pouch. I know where everything's at. So I could do it in the dark. I do use a light. I use a red light, by the way. Red light, deer can't see that. But you're not fumbling.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been in situations where I'll put something in a different spot in my bag for whatever reason, and you're just hunting for it and making all this commotion, and you start freaking out. And
that's when you start sweating, and then you're cold.
You start sweating, out of nerves or just because you're moving, right? You're doing more extra motion. You don't want that, right? So just getting it, I guess, over practicing, right?
Yeah.
I would say over practice is better than saying, I'll be fine.
Right.
And then you get out there.
Yeah, it's not a ladder stand where you just climb up a metal ladder and sit down. It's a tool for sure.
Yeah, definitely things to get used to there. Next question. What are things you will do different to ensure a flawless setup and remove chances of mistakes? Can you give an example of that?
What would I do different than most people, per se? I think most people are scared to jump into the aider side of things, like I was showing here. I run 2 sticks, so I cut down. Most people run 4 or 5 sticks. I'll cut down and I'll run 2 sticks. That's half of the amount of stuff I'm hanging up, so I can climb essentially twice as quick. I have to hang up twice as less sticks and attachment methods, and I can get that 18 feet with 2 sticks, so I have half the work, in my opinion, on getting up the tree. And I think a lot of people are scared to take that jump into the aider, whether it's fear of climbing on a rope or whatever it is. I think that's a big perk and tool to cut weight and climb up the tree faster.
Yeah, because those are not heavy at all. They're way less weight than a stick, another stick, right?
Yeah, so like my triple step aider that I run is just over 3 ounces. So I'm taking away essentially 2 to 4 pounds depending on the sticks you use. If you take away 2 sticks, sticks generally weigh 1 pound to 2 pounds a piece, and I'm adding 6 ounces. So I'm cutting out over 3.5 pounds.
Yeah, and so for example, if that is on your first stick, you're probably getting 8 or 9 feet out of that
as high as you can reach.
One stick.
I do the same thing on my second stick, as high as I can reach.
Yeah,
and I can get up to hunting height that way.
So do you use what? You use just 3 sticks?
Two sticks with two triple step aiders.
Really? Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I don't like 4 sticks. Because
the packability, it's so hard when you're trying to be mobile having 4 sticks.
Yeah, 4 sticks, plus you can't do it in one trip unless you got a way to somehow attach 4 sticks on you or 3 on you. You can do like 1 on each hip, 1 on the tree, 1 on each hip. That's 3, 2 is even better.
Yep.
I might have to...
so like my system, I have I'll put my first stick up, I'll set my second stick on the first stick, and I'll put my platform on my back. Or on the back of my saddle, and then I don't have anything on me minus my platform on my saddle, and then I'm going right up the tree.
That'll give you 18 feet, you said?
Yep.
Yeah. And if you have 3, if you did 3, which isn't bad, because I do 1 on each hip, you can get 20 plus feet.
Yeah, I'm scared of heights, so I'm about that 16 to 18 feet.
Yeah, but it cuts down on weight, right? So these are just some of the things, and the
more packable
with the aiders too. Like it is a little different. You got to get used to it, right? You got to get your toe into the tree. You don't want to be kicking out or something, So
and there's other products too that work well for that, and we're actually coming out with some stuff this fall that'll make it a little bit easier to climb up the tree with our aiders. Little sneak peek for anyone that watches. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, the big thing is just getting your foot in the aider and digging that toe into the tree. To get up the tree. That's the safest way to do it. You don't want to just have your foot sideways on the tree. You'll start slipping.
Gotcha.
And we have YouTube videos on our YouTube channel going over how easy it is and how to use it and all that.
For setups, highly effective setups, are there any other keys you can think of? We talked about just practicing with your setup, getting really comfortable with it, right? Knowing it in detail. Are there anything other than those as far as where guys maybe make mistakes that you see or think are mistakes? Some of this might be opinion, right? But
it's all opinion. I like hunting really small trees, so don't be afraid to hunt small trees. I like hunting really small clusters.
And you're a pretty big guy.
Yeah, I'm 6'4", 240. I hunt really tiny. Like I'll hunt sometimes trees that are the size of a baseball. I'm not afraid of it at all. Like I'll get in a nice little cluster of birch trees, whatever it is to kill a deer. It doesn't matter to me. I'll do whatever it takes. Where you won't hardly ever see me in a tree that's bigger than the size of a basketball. That's about my maximum size tree I like to hunt. But I'm getting really close to bedding, and usually in the bedding areas and the swamps that I'm hunting, it's typically smaller trees.
And that's why I was going to ask you why you choose small trees.
So how I hunt and where I'm typically at, I really like hunting cattails in swamps. I just don't have any big trees, and I don't ever climb them. I know exactly where I want to hunt, and I hunt the same tree or same 2 or 3 trees in the same area, and I just take my system in and out every time and hunt that way.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like if you had a tree stand or something, it's a different situation a little bit.
Yeah.
Tree stands can be mobile too.
I have a mobile tree stand. I have a hybrid setup I use with a tree stand and a saddle that I use a lot as well once it comes to rut time and I'm out there more than a 3 or 4 hour sit.
Okay, well, are there any last things, I guess? Did we answer the question?
I think we answered it for the most part.
Okay. You gave other options, I think, as we talked about it. Did we talk about those other options, or those?
Yeah, so metal-free, lightweight system. It could be all of them. I mean, it just depends on what is important to you. In my opinion, it's having a system, and all the other things are just perks of having that system.
Gotcha. Okay, and here are your high IQ takeaways and challenges. Look at your systems for safe and effective mods you can make to make them lighter, quieter, and deadly efficient. And if you want feedback on those, reach out to me and I'll try to help out. Next time we continue with some of these exact mods the Amsteel Guy suggests, and those he doesn't. You won't want to miss that high IQ episode, and I'll see you then.